Team Canada, but if I was, I would 100% support him to be on that hockey team.
Having coached at the Worlds and taken USA all the way, by the way, there you go. Do you see the Olympics now any differently? Like, having been on the inside of like really representing the country, do you see this tournament any differently now?
It's definitely it's a unique tournament in the middle of the National Hockey League season. We're obviously seeing the amount of injuries right now affecting a lot of rosters and hopefully not countries, but it's a unique tournament. Obviously never been a part of it, but you have a little bit of experience going to World Championships a couple times now, and you see what's interesting for me is how teams play so differently. The European teams, a little bit different size ice sheet, so the teams, the structures differently, and you got to kind of really peel that onion back as a coach and figure out what works. Maybe what works here doesn't really work over there. So obviously know the U.S. coaching staff quite well, and I know they've gone through a long process to kind of put their identity and their stamp on it.
So to have the Olympics in this NHL season as part of it, we'll all get 3 weeks off, right? Well, at least I'll get 3 weeks off. It's a condensed season though, and it's been a while since I've been through one of these, and a lot of people have been through one of these. You realize the pace of games, like 4 games this week, or 3 and 4 nights, or I think the Sharks play 14 or 15 or 16 back-to-backs, I think, this year.
A lot of back-to-backs.
What can you say about the pace of this year?
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's something that we're learning as a staff of when to keep the guys off the ice, when to skate, when not to skate. There's a lot that goes into that. We want to have energy in practice. Sometimes, we lose, and as a coach, I want to get out there and start working on some
skate them again,
yeah. But sometimes, what's best for myself is not what's best for the team, and we've got a lot of data that we use with our sports science and performance staff that we'll go through, pretty much, daily. I got a report, a lot of conversations with our leadership group and see how they're feeling. So it's a lot of it is, and obviously I've talked to a lot of coaches in the National Hockey League, a lot of teams that aren't practicing very often. So there's a big balance, and there's something that we're continuing to learn about our group as we go here.
Right, I'm going to do the Will and Mac portion of this Q&A. Only 2 questions, because there's more to this team than those guys, but I realize they are very much the center of attention. Maclin's passing ability, if there's something that is underrated about his game, they talk about how many points he's putting up, and I know he's assisted on a lot of Smitty's goals this year, but his ability to see the ice and I think pass almost better than his shot. Am I crazy for thinking about that?
No, yeah, he's the complete player. He's a complete package. I think in baseball they call him 5-star. Baseball
5
players, 5 tools.
Yeah.
He's got the 5-tool hockey.
This guy's a Red Sox fan, by the way. Wait, what? I expected booze. Sorry.
So I think 100% his passing is elite, his shooting is elite. For me, and maybe you guys can watch him, and the one that sticks out for me, what is so impressive is how he defends. When he's in our defensive zone, how he closes, how physical he is, it's amazing. He's 19 years old, and he's up there with one of our most physical guys, and his competitive drive to if there's a puck there, me versus you, he wants the puck more than the other guy, and I think that's what makes him so special.
All right, so the Sharks take a too many men on the ice penalty. You're on the bench steaming. There's a fumes coming out of your ears. You're hot, right? But Will Smith is the guy who always goes in the penalty box, or has been a lot this year. But I think I know why, but why?
2 reasons. One is, like we saw it with Toffoli in Seattle a few weeks back.
Fed him with a pass.
Yeah, gets a breakaway and scores. So we have an opportunity to get Smitty on a breakaway, and usually what teams will do is their 3rd or 4th lines will come out after their power play, and that's an opportunity for us to get our top line out there, and that's why we'll see Smitty, and you see with 15 seconds left in the penalty kill, Mac and Smitty, we connected a few weeks back, I think against New Jersey or Florida, coming out of the box there. So there's definitely some reasoning behind that. Those are the 2 big ones.
Here's another coaching one for you. So Colin Graff is on the team last year, and he told me prior to being in the NHL, he'd never really been on a PK unit. But you saw that in him. You made him a penalty killer. He's done so well at it. He's so aggressive, shorthanded. What did you see? How did you coach him into that? How did you get him in that spot?
Well, I don't think it was I that made it.
The group.
The group. It was a team effort, and I think at the end of the day, Colin made him a great penalty killer. His stick detail, his attention to details without the puck. We found him as a guy that we could really trust. He has high hockey sense. He reads the game really well. obviously when you're shorthanded, you have one less guy, you could be able to think quick and react quickly, and he does a really good job of that. So, you know, it was more so the tools that he has. He's long, he's lengthy, he can skate, and then his hockey sense put him over the top. So he's done a really good job. Him and Delandria have done a really good job this year, kind of solidifying those first two guys over the boards.
Ping pong has been a really big thing in the San Jose hockey community this year. The Barracuda have their own table at a storage area. You guys put a ping pong table right in the middle of the dressing room at Sharks Ice. I know the coaches get together and play. I want to make this challenge while everybody here gets to see it and hear it. I want to challenge you after practice, whenever you got time, month of December, one-on-one. Would you take that challenge?
Oh, 100%.
How are your ping pong skills? What do you mean 100%? You don't know my hand. You don't.
We play pretty.
You practice a lot. That's actually the part that worries me.
Me and the coaches play doubles. It's kind of our therapy session
Right.
in the afternoon.
Right.
So we've gotten really into it.
Right.
And it's been a good passion. And the players play a lot before practice.
Right.
You know, they have a standings board and whatnot. But the coaches, when the players leave the facility, that's when the coaches jump in.
It's the golf course that you don't have access to, like in the moment, right? It's
Yeah.
like a different version of golf.
Exactly.
Do something else.
Not 4.5 hours long.
Not 4, exactly. So wait, the challenge part, you would do that?
I would 100% do it. Let's go.
All right. You heard it here first.
We'll
Oh no,
film
and
it.
this
We'll
is
film
for,
it.
you know, this is for a segment,
Yeah, we'll
right?
film it.
Yeah, this is content, content. Yaroslav Askarov having a really good month of November. He's putting the no in November, as I said recently. But he's an interesting goalie because usually they're a different breed. They don't connect with the room as much. He seems both happy and confident, but also determined right now. How do you even start to describe his approach and how he's been successful here this month?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job of, you know, working with his game and developing his game with Thomas Spear. As far as had some struggles early, and is now, I think he had a lot of pressure on himself to come in and really carry us. And we didn't really need to carry us. We just needed him to be himself. And he's back to being himself. He's confident. He's calm in the net. I think sometimes you put pressure on yourself and you try to do too much. And he's got a swagger about himself, which I think is really important for goalies. I think they have to have that quiet confidence and toe the line of cockiness. And I think he does a really good job of that. And he's played really good hockey here for us in November.
Handling Michael Misa and Dickinson, is it much different from Will and Mac last year? I know they're all different people, different situations. Did you learn anything last year that you can help those two this year with?
Yeah, a little bit. I think going through that with Mac and Will, we have a pretty good plan in place with both those players. And, I think, obviously Misa's gotten hurt now and is missing some time.
Right.
But, again, every player is a little bit different. If there was one plan that everyone used to develop a player, we would use it, but everyone develops at a different time, and everyone goes through challenges at a different time and has success at a different time, and then hits speed bumps along the way. We've seen that here with Dickie, a little bit of playing some really good hockey, and then he struggles a little bit at times, and then comes back and plays really good. So I think each guy's a little bit different, but we definitely have some experience from last year.
All right, we are precisely at about 14 minutes. I said 20 minutes total. We got to let the coach go back to doing his work. So I'm going to ask one more question. After that, we will take a few from the audience. My last one is this. We're at the quarter point of the season already. Time flies. What would make you satisfied after game 41 this year? And then what would make you satisfied after game 82 this year?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I think we continue to see, positive results, and we're seeing success individually. We're seeing players develop. We're seeing Graf take another step. We're seeing Mac and Wills take another step. Our veteran guys are just getting more comfortable in what we are doing here. But at the end of the day, we're building a program and a team to win in the long run. If we were going to wanted to win 1 year, I know we wouldn't want to take. We want to win long term. We want to win 5, 10 for the next 20 years. We have to do it the right way. We have to build this thing the right way. And I don't know if there's an exact answer. Can't say there's an amount of wins I want to.
Right.
Of course, we want to win all the games.
Right.
We want to be there at the end. We want to, we'd love to go in and be in a playoff spot in February and keep going into March after the Olympic break. But there's a sign that goes in our door when you walk in. It says focus on today, and we're going to focus on our game tonight against Utah, and then when we get to tomorrow's practice, we'll worry about practice. So, as human beings, we get into this mindset of what's in the future, what's in 2 weeks from now? What's in 10 games from now? That's extremely hard mentally to process. So, you know, we're going to process it as one game at a time. We're going to focus on our first period, and when we come back after the first intermission, we'll make our, you know, adjustments and get ready for the second. So we're going to really just stay where our feet are.
Those darn media people trying to get you hockey people ahead of yourself. I apologize for that. Okay, we'll take a couple questions if you want to quickly raise your hand, then we can do that. I'll take yours right here. Yeah.
How badly do you wish Husso had a budget for allowing you and Mike to get a fine with some of the officiating last couple weeks?
I don't know how he's supposed to answer that. Yeah, no, I see what you're doing there.
I learned my lesson last year. I had a pretty good fine, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta control your emotions, and they're not perfect, and obviously it's an emotional sport, but we gotta keep playing. You know, that's what we tell our group, that life's not perfect. You can be faced with challenges, bad bounces. We gotta just keep playing. As frustrating as that says.
We'll take yours next. Oh, thank you.
Coach, when you taking over for Coach Quinn, the message that he personally sent to us was he wanted to make the Sharks a very all through areas. You, sir, have done a fantastic job of that so far this season. What message have you instilled to these guys that has made the turnaround so they're not only competing all three periods, but they're basically coming back multiple weeks or winning games?
Yeah, well, thank you for those kind words. I mean, I think, you know, being here for 2 years as well, and a little bit before that, we needed to earn the respect back in the National Hockey League, and that starts with our work ethic. We needed to get back to a team that works. We wanted to be competitive. You obviously have seen the words that are around our dressing room. The C4 of being competitive. It starts with being competitive each and every night in practice. We wanted competitive people. We need to be more connected throughout our systems and how we wanted to play from top to bottom. We needed, you know, to be consistent with that, you know, and do it each and every night and do it each day. And obviously there'll be some times where we take some steps back, but to wake up the next morning and get back on it and get back to practicing, being competitive and being connected. And then the last thing is we got to care. We need to care more. And I think that's, you know, we need people that care, that it affects us, and it does. It affects our group. You know, we lose to Detroit the other night, 3-2 in a shootout. We honestly could have won the game. We didn't play great. It was the first time in my 4 years where I saw a dressing room that was physically and mentally upset. They were frustrated by the way that we played, by not getting the result. Where last year and the years before, it was like, all right, we're on to the next one. So I think we've made strides with those things, and we're going to keep pushing the pace and pushing it. And you know, I think our work ethic and our blue collar mentality can really disrupt a lot of teams, and we've done that here a little bit this year.
We'll sneak in two more. There was some on this side of the room. Yeah, go ahead right here.
So you talk a lot about the ways that you're handling young players developing, sometimes scratching them, benching them, some line demotions, trying to cut off bad habits, keep them from forming the bad habits early. But then sometimes it seems like the same kinds of consequences don't always apply to the vets. Sometimes they get to play night after night, making some of the same mistakes. How do you find a balance between those lessons for the young players and the vets still feeling like they need to step up to stay in the lineup?
Yeah, there's definitely a balance of that, and where we are as an organization right now, where we've brought in some guys that are a little bit older, and you know, the Klingbergs, the Orlovs, the Lettys that are kind of, you know, they're came in, they're towards, you know, in their mid-30s, and we also have some young guys that we want to continue to develop. You know, sometimes the older guys get a little bit longer of a leash from what they've done in their career and who they've been, and then sometimes the leash is cut short. You'll see tonight where John Klingberg is not playing, and you know, I think a lot of it comes behind the scenes, how many meetings we're having. If I'm showing the same video meeting to Sam Dickinson and we're not seeing the corrections 4, 5, 6 times, now we have a problem, and now we got to fix it and practice it, and maybe it's time to come out of the lineup and watch from up top. You know, I think that goes for the veterans as well. But there's also a lot of things that go on with some other players that are important for us in our dressing room and helping our young players in tough moments in games where a guy like Barkey Goodrow, I know he doesn't stand up on the score sheet every night, but what he does in that dressing room to help our younger players and the leadership he brings is extremely vital for where we want to get going in this organization. And those are just some instances of it, and, but yeah, there's definitely some times where, you know, where we're at, the older player gets a little bit of a leash, and sometimes, like you're seeing tonight, that it's time, and it's time for a little bit of a reset.
And is that a Douglas Murray jersey, by the way? That's awesome. Go ahead.
Thank you for coming. You came at the end of last season, and you said you and Mike Greer were looking at winning the Stanley Cup in the next 10 to 15 years.
I hope it's not that long.
That's what you said, and I'm generally patient because when you go through the struggle, the win is sweeter. But I realize that 15 years is beyond my life expectancy.
Speed it up.
It's older than me. Would you and Mike consider moving that timeline a little?
Trust me, I would love to move that time. Yes, I'll eat my words. I would say so. I would for sure say so. At the end of the day, and I talk to a lot of people around the league, and you talk to people and fans. We got the guy. We got Macklin Celebrini, and I'm saying that very humbly and understanding that there's a team effort. But we have, you look at teams that win Stanley Cups. They have superstar players. You go down the list. We've done this project. There's Barkovs and Kachucks and Eichels and Shea Theodore and Mark Stone. I mean, the teams that win Stanley Cups have superstars, and then Macklin and Will are on their way. Are they there yet? No. But I think we're on our way. I would say it's a little bit shorter than that. I hope so. I don't know if I'll be here by then.
When you said we got the guy, I thought you meant Drew Amenda at first. Anyway.
We got you.
Hey, thank you. All right. Coach Ryan Orosowski, I'm glad to be back. Thank you to the head coach for making time here on a game night. Thanks to all of you. I'm going to hang around. He's actually got to go get to work. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks.